Right. I want to thank our early joiners here. If you caught our first and second segment this morning, then you know we are having a virtual fire service day because we can't invite you into the stations today. We didn't want to let this year go uncelebrated. So we're bringing your LAFD to your home. So the first segment this morning, you were down at Fire Station 112 in the harbor. You got to get an inside look at the boats. You got to see the water flow. So we're going from the sea to the sky. So today we're out here at Fire Station 114, which is our air ops and Van Nuys. We're gonna show you around what is at the station, the aircraft, and we're even taking you in the sky. So to get us started off, I'm gonna introduce to you, this is pilot Dan Child. He's the lead pilot out here today, and we're gonna give you a tour of the space. So let me switch you around here. All right, go ahead and introduce yourself, Dan.
Good morning. My name's Dan Child, lead pilot here on the C shift. Welcome to Air Operations. We've been around here since 1962. We've been through quite a few buildings here on Nuys Airport, which we're housed at. And we're going to start off first in the, currently we normally have 5 pilots here every day and 2 paramedics. So that's our normal staffing here. Plus we also have our crash members, which you're going to be able to see them in their trucks in a little bit later on. As well as we're going to show you the helicopters. First off, we're here in the flight ops room, we call it. It's kind of our command center that you get a good view of out there on our ramp and the airport, so we can see our helicopters when we pull them out of the hangar and put them out on the ramp, and we can see who's moving. So you can also see the radio platform that we have up front here. This allows us our communications through all our mutual agencies with Ventura County and LA County. We can be able to talk with all of them through all the radios, and we have our air-to-air radios. We have our own frequency. We talk helicopters back to this place as well. Any of our hiker runs or brush runs, all this equipment is used inside here, anywhere from the Googler for our hiker calls, to managing radios, to talking to dispatch, making sure we know where everybody's at all times. We also have a flight following program that we have up in the hallways throughout here, so we can keep track of the aircraft at all times as well. It just kind of lets everybody know kind of the status for the day of where people are at and where our equipment is at as well. So we'll walk you through the ready room. This is where everybody gets ready. Anytime we get a call, they stage all of their things in here, from their uniforms to their flight helmets, as well as all of their hoist harnesses. And we have additional equipment in here for multiple air ambulances. We can set up all the aircraft. We currently have 5 AW-139s, and we can manage all those aircraft into air ambulances for multi-casualty type incidents, as well as we have overwater stuff whenever we're doing open water type or swift water events. We have flotation for all members, whether they're going to be going over water, because we can go anywhere from Catalina for mutual aid or to any of the river areas that we have that would require any kind of river rescue. We have additional harnesses for all our members that are hoist certified. These are the harnesses they'd have in back of the helicopters. We also have additionally all of our swiftwater stuff, so we can put multiple aircraft up for swiftwater days.
Dan, I just want to interrupt you for a second. We have a couple questions.
Okay.
One, someone's asking, how do you become an LAFD pilot? Can you just give the top level?
LAFD pilots are all hired within the fire department. So you are on the job for 4 years at a minimum, and then you need a private pilot rating with 100 hours, and then you can apply for the test. And then the test will go through a oral interview, and then it will go through the LAPD. Actually, we go through an LAPD for their trainees, and then they come to us on our training platform as well. So they'll get 180 hours with LAPD, and then they'll come over to our platform, and there'll be a 200-hour training program prior to becoming a full pilot.
Great. And we're getting compliments on the shiny floor. Take
Well,
care of it just like our own homes.
Yeah, we've got some guys that definitely shine the floors up good. We definitely do work on that part of our housekeeping. But anyhow, we've got guys different cubbies, and this is all their stuff. They keep their gear and their jackets and everything that they use to get ready inside of here. We have different members that are not only part of air operations, but they're also part of USAR and So they have different USAR gear in here as well. So you'll see multiple different types of gear for all the different members in here. Of course, what fire station isn't complete without fire pole? So we've got 2 fire poles in here to get from the upstairs. All of the downstairs in this station is used for the daily stuff, and everything upstairs is all the dorms where we'll sleep. Because of course we're here 24 hours a day, just like the rest of the fire department. We're also going to move in over next. We'll get you over to Captain Coleman, who is going to show you the crash apparatus, and then we'll be back and we'll take you more into the helicopter side, and we'll also get you on a flight. So here's
Great.
Captain Coleman in charge of the crash apparatus.
Thank you, Pilot Childs. How's it going today? This is Captain Coleman. I'm in charge of the crash unit. This is, if we can go on outside, what I'll show you guys today is where we house our crash apparatus and what where we respond to and into and out of. Right here we have our crash members. We have A.O. Gary Gattina, Engineer Oscar Gutierrez, Firefighter John Tobon, and Firefighter Steve Barrett. These two, we have 2 apparatus here. This is the Van Nuys Airport is the busiest in the nation. It's a general aviation airport. We have lots of high dollar and high value aircraft that come in and out. What I'm going to do now is hand it over to A.O. Gattina, and he's going to tell you a little bit about the crash unit here. A.O. Gattina?
Yeah, thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. Welcome. Here at 114s, we have 2 crash apparatus. This rig here that you're looking at is a 1997 Oshkosh. It weighs 54,000 pounds. It's approximately 31 feet long, 12 feet high. On this rig here, we have 3 people that ride in the apparatus. We have a captain, we have the apparatus operator, which is myself, and we have a firefighter. Now, what's strange about these rigs, folks, is that the driver sits in the very middle of the apparatus. And that's so we can have control of the different controls that operate the turrets. Now, the turrets spray water or foam. And on my bumper, I have a turret, and I can disperse 300 gallons a minute. And on the roof, I have a turret that can disperse 800 gallons a minute. On this apparatus, I carry 1,500 gallons of water, 210 gallons of foam. I have a hose reel below my front bumper here that has 500 pounds of dry chemical, and I can disperse that as well. And I also have hoses on the side of the apparatus, which is 300 feet of 1.5-inch hose, which can disperse foam, or the AFFF. Now, other equipment that we carry on these rigs, tools. Hey Gil, could you help open up a couple of compartments?
And we're also we're getting some comments. People are noticing all the hashes on your sleeves. Can you give us a rundown of how many years on the job you guys have?
Gil, what do you got there?
So I have 30. Oh, there we go. Thanks. Yeah, so I have 36 years of service to the city, and Gary here has 33 years of service.
31.
Each stripe represents 5 years. We do happen to have the bull engineer here, the engineer with the most time on this job. He has 43 years on this job and 37 years in rank. So he has 8 stripes. So you'll see him in a minute. He's on the phone. So he's next. We're going to take with some of the equipment here, and Gary's going to talk while I demonstrate some of our equipment.
So like the other fire apparatus in the LA City Fire Department, we all carry self-contained breathing apparatus. We also carry forcible entry tools and equipment so we can make a quick attack on an aircraft that may be down and have trapped people inside. So it's imperative that we get there fast and we're able to open it up to help rescue the patients or victims. Again, here's the 300 feet of 1.5-inch hose that we disperse the foam out of.
On the other side.
Several other tools and pieces of equipment on the other side of the rig as well. Some different hand tools. Down below here, Gil's opening up the compartment where the reel cord is that disperses dry chem. And again, I have 500 pounds of dry chem on the apparatus. What's kind of interesting as well is we have different tools, hand tools, that are specialized for aircraft firefighting and rescuing operations. Gil's pulling out the board with a few of them on there that we have. And if you look at the axe, hey Gil, lift up that axe, would you? Just below, above your left arm, right here. Now folks, if you take a peek at the edge, see how it's all serrated? It's basically, this is specially designed to cut through the fuselage or metal surfaces of the airplane and not get stuck. And how that's one way that we could gain entry into the fuselage of an aircraft.
500 pounds of dry chems up there.
And this is part of our dry chem system that we have that helps me disperse. We have more compartments, more tools. This is basically mirror compartment from the other side. This is the plumbing and the intake and the discharge gates where I can actually fill up the apparatus with the water and foam. And it has the gauges that tells me what levels I'm at. In this compartment over here, we have our assortment of portable extinguishers, dry chem, purple X, metal X, halon. We also have EMS equipment as well because we're all EMTs and we would have to possibly administer first aid to a patient. Up top here, we have assortment of tools. We have a portable ladder, collapsible ladder. I have air-powered tools, air-powered chisel kit and equipment and hoses there. And that's kind of it in a nutshell as far as some of the tools and equipment we carry on the crash rig. If we were to get an incident, we would be working closely in unison with the Task Force 90s or any surrounding task force that has assortment of more equipment and more manpower.
Thank you for that. That was fantastic.
So as you can see, we're a very busy company over here in preparation for anything that happens here at the airport. Van Nuys Airport is a backup landing site for all of the local airports around here. We have B-52s that have landed here. We have 747s that have landed here. We house 737s here on a regular basis. This, like I said, it's a very busy airport, and we're at the ready for any and everything that can happen here at Van Nuys Airport. What we're going to show you now is a brief little operation of how the water comes out of the apparatus. So just bear with me here for 1 minute, and we'll work our way up here to the front. Incidentally, firefighter Stephen Barrett has approximately 33 years on the job. And myself, Captain Coleman, 34 years on the job, which wasn't mentioned when firefighter Tobon was giving the number of years that everybody has on the job. Now here we are. We're going to show you how the water is shot out of the apparatus. This is investigation that happens on an airplane. Like I said, we are mobile service that is ready at any and all the time. That's it. So, like I said, your crash unit here at Fire Station 114 is always ready, able, and willing to respond to any incident here that happens at Van Nuys Airport. At this particular time, we're going to continue the tour on the other side, on the air operations side of the hangar where they house all the helicopter units.
All right, thank you very, Cap. We appreciate that very much. We're gonna head.
I'm going to hand it over to Dan here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Somebody's saying.
Okay. Okay.
It looks
so,
like we may be having an issue with that microphone. So I'm going to switch over here. We're going to give that to, I want you guys to be able to hear good.
Here, let me give it to you, Dan.
Can you give me a thumbs up right now if you guys can hear me? We're doing an audio check here. I don't want to miss out on any audio. Can you guys hear me? Give me a thumbs up on the audio. Okay, we're getting some thumbs up. Okay, so I think we're working. So I'll just give that one to you guys.
Okay, what we're going to do now is hand it over to pilot for Dan Childs. He's going to take you on a virtual tour of the air operations side, which is where they house all of the helicopters. Dan?
Thank you very much. Welcome back. We're going to pass through the station again, and we'll get over to the helicopter side. Inside our fire station is very similar to the other stations. We all have kitchens. We got a kitchen just down the hallway here, as well as a gym over here. Can't see through the doors, but we have a large conference room in the center of the fire station. We'll get over to
Dan, let's switch back. I think
Okay.
you're good
Now we're
there.
working?
Yeah, I think we're good.
that. Sound good? Okay. This is we're going to take you by our training center. The air operations founded in 1962. It all started with a gentleman named Bud Nelson, who was the founder of all the fire department here. We got a small plaque and a memoriam for him here. All our trainees that come through here. This is their training room inside behind all these plaques here, and this is the gentleman that started, and he was in the Army, that did flights for the Army as well through the Korean War, flew bombers, and he was the founder that got everything started with our Bell 47s here. So we got our training room inside here. This is where all the guys that are going through our training program study and learn about aircraft, and that's their place to get together with everybody. Lots of pictures throughout the hallways. If you guys ever get a chance to come by and take a visit, these are all the different types of operations that we do, from hikers to landings off-site. And let me get you into the hangar here. Outside here, this is the west side of the fire station where we house all the aircraft. So you can see we've got Fire 6 as our Jet Ranger. We have 2 Jet Rangers, and we have 5 AW-139s or Leonardo 139s. And I got our Pilot 3, Joel Smith, is over here. I'm going to hand him off to you here shortly, and he will tell you all about these aircraft, and we'll get you a sneak peek inside of these things. And he'll also take you for a flight with the air crew and the medics, and we'll do a little bit of hoisting here shortly. Here's one of our mechanics who here on Saturday as well. We've got mechanics here 6 days a week to take care of the aircraft, and they're always on call as well. So here we got Joel Smith, Pilot 3. I'm going to let him talk to you all about the aircraft, and thanks for joining.
Thank you.
Hi there, welcome to our hangar. I'm Joel Smith, one of the Pilot 3s here at Air Operations, so welcome. This right here is our newest addition to our fleet, Fire 1. It's a Augusta Westland 139 helicopter. It's a twin engine. Basically each engine has about 1,800 horsepower, and that gives us the flight safety capability in case an engine fails, God forbid. We can fly away and keep everyone safe, the crew and the patient on board, fly away safely with one engine. Up here we have the cockpit. The pilots sit on the right side. You want me to hop in? All right. So this is our cyclic. So to put it simply, this makes the aircraft go forward, makes it go backwards, right and left. We have our collective right here on my left hand. This is like the up-down lever. If you want to go higher, make the houses get smaller, pull up. If you want the houses to get bigger, push down. And then to control that big fan in the back called a tail rotor, we have called anti-torque pedals, or tail rotor pedals. You can go right by pushing right and go left by pushing left. The big paddles up here are brakes because we have wheels. We have, this is called a glass cockpit helicopter. We have 4 screens when we turn the aircraft on, and we'll show you later on in a Flight and Fire 4. Everything turns on like a big video game screen, and it tells us everything that the engines are doing, what the rotors are doing, how fast we're going. It tells us a bunch of information to fly safely. Hop out and we'll walk around. So back here we have some fire hose. I'm sure most people have seen us on the news or flying over your house when all the fires hit here in the fall time. We have 4/6 to 2.5 inch rubber hose. It's 50 feet each, so it's 200 feet of hose. We have a complement of we call it a hose stinger, and this connects the hose into our water tank here. This water tank is We have an opening port. It holds about 475 gallons at a full tank. The Helitack members from Fire Station 90, they come over here every time we get a brush fire response, and they'll sit in the back. 2 Helitack members at minimum. Most of the time we have trainees. We put the trainee in the back, so all 3 Helitack members will jump out. They throw that hose out. They connect it all while the aircraft is running, and within about 2 minutes we can get water from the fire hydrant at our heli-spots into the water tank. So we can get water on the fire pretty quick. Coming to the back here, so we have, if you look up, we have a fully articulated rotor system, 5 blades. They're pretty big because it's a big helicopter, and they produce a lot of lift. It's a very heavy helicopter. This one weighs up to 15,432 pounds. Some of the other aircraft are a little bit less than that, but it's a very heavy helicopter. Coming around here to the back, we have the tail rotor. This tail rotor helps us counteract the torque that the engines produce to the main rotors. So when the main rotors want to spin one way, the aircraft itself wants to spin the other way. This tail rotor helps us correct that yaw so we can fly straight.
Can you also explain, we got a question about the staffing on the helicopter again? Just let people know
Okay,
what.
so we have multiple, we have different staffing levels, I guess you can say. So today, this is the brush firefighting ship because you saw the hose in there. At minimum, it's going to be 1 pilot and the Helitack members to drop off at the heli-spot. So when we do water dropping missions, it's a single pilot or solo pilot only. When we go out on the hoist ship, as you'll see later, it's going to be 1 pilot, such as myself. We have a hoist operator, a crew chief, and 2 paramedic rescuers in the back. That's our minimum crew for hoist rescues. If it's an air ambulance, like we have to pick up a really sick patient or an injured patient from one hospital in north end of the valley, and it's 2 hours of traffic to get down to the harbor, we will respond to that hospital, pick them up with our 2 paramedics and a pilot, and we'll take them down to the specialty hospital.
Great, thanks.
If you look really carefully, this vertical fin here isn't exactly symmetrical. It looks like a big airplane wing, but on its side. This side over here is the flat side, basically not creating lift, and the curved side is creating lift. It helps the tail rotor counteract, like I was talking about, that torque from the engines to the main rotor. So every little pitch and turn of the airfoils here help the helicopter fly nice and straight, so we're not flying out of trim, kind of wonky. As you can see up over here, we have a big black circular thing. That's called our night sun. It's essentially a very, very bright flashlight. We turn this on for night hoist rescues and night firefighting. We all carry night vision goggles on our helmet, but the night vision goggles, it's sometimes difficult to see depth perception wise, so this helps us, like a big flashlight at night, helps us with our bare eyes see what we're doing. We do have a spot for a co-pilot. This is a dual pilot rated aircraft that the fire department and our pilots here have to go to school to get a special certificate to fly it solo, to fly a single pilot during our operations. Essentially, that's pretty much it. Are there any questions?
I think we're good right now.
Okay.
We have one question we're getting. Obviously, we know there aren't really typical days in terms of call volume.
Right.
You never know what you're going to get. But like, what's a busy day for you guys here at Air Ops?
A busy day. We're starting to get into that busy season. It's getting hotter outside. The brush is drying out. We have been, the last few days, been getting brush fire responses. Though they're small, little brush fires, a busy day we can get up to 10 to 12 calls, brush responses, or hoist calls a day. Most of the time it's not like that. Most of the time, especially if the weather's bad, and with all this COVID-19 stuff, it has slowed down a little bit because there's not as many people hiking out in the hills, so our hoist rescues have gone down. And when it's rainy, we can go on swiftwater rescues. It's, like the question stated, there's no typical day here. It is, kind of laughed about, that is the busiest slow assignment in the city. There is constantly stuff going on here. We're going to go show you a little brief mission training. We go out and do this stuff every day. That's just the hoist side of it. We go out and practice firefighting. I did that yesterday. And we have paramedic coordinators coming in here. So there's always people here. Some sort of training going on every day. It's always exciting.
And we do have a technical question. The weight that you quoted, the 15,432, I think it was, is that a dry weight or is that a wet weight, including
That's going to
the
be our
tank?
max gross weight. So no matter what we put on the aircraft, that is the maximum we can take. In this aircraft, in Fire 1 and Fire 4 in particular, because they have technically we can go up to 7,000 kilograms. The aircraft are made, they're Italian-made aircraft, so everything's in kilograms. So us here in the United States have to convert everything to pounds, so we have to know a bunch of those type of numbers. If you look over at Fire 3, that aircraft is only rated to 14,991 pounds, just a little bit less. But the heavier capabilities does give us a little bit more wiggle room as far as payload.
2 more questions. Can you explain quickly, people are asking about how pilots promote. Do they promote to captain? Can you just explain the 1 to 4 pilot?
Okay. To get here at Air Operations as a pilot, we're a sworn-in firefighters first. So I started out riding the ambulances and fire trucks and fire engines. Before I promoted here, we hire our pilots internally. So meaning we have to go through a promotional process. I hired out of the rank of firefighter. I was one of the lucky few. There's a couple of members here that were promoted out of the rank of engineer and apparatus operator. Typically when a member makes a decision to promote to helicopter pilot, it's extremely demanding. Financially, emotionally, personally, it puts a massive strain to try to get your flight hours here. So you promote first to Pilot 1. It's our trainee. You go through a 200-hour flight program, learning how to fly the Jet Ranger like you saw earlier. Basically 75 hours in the basic phase, 75 hours in mountain training, and then 50 hours in a, let's move on back here, let's go back, a little bit noise. And 50 hours for the advanced training, such as water dropping, long line operations. After you're done with that, you promote to Pilot 2. Pilot 2 is then the transition from the Jet Ranger to the 139. To give it some sort of comparison, it's like driving an old classic car or like a VW Beetle and then jumping right into a Ferrari sports car and expected to take it around the track at 200 miles an hour. So there's a big gap. There's a lot of learning to do. Altogether, I just promoted to Pilot 3 about a month ago. It took me 4 years and 2 months, but who's counting, right, to make it Pilot 3. So I'm finally mission certified to do everything that Air Operations or the city calls us out to do. But it does take a very long time to learn all the different types of calls in the aircraft and how to maneuver. You kind of get a feel for it. It becomes part of, a second part of who you are when you fly these things.
Let's move back a little bit. And we have one more question. People are asking about the Bell, the smaller aircraft. What is that used for?
Okay, so our smaller aircraft, typically without that silver thing on the bottom, that's a water tank. One of our trainees, he's in the Pilot 2 transition phase, so he's learning how to water drop. But normally, the smaller aircraft is used for called a Helco platform. Anytime these aircraft launch on an incident, whether it's a hoist or a brush fire, this helicopter goes up and circles up high. What they do is they relay the ground messages coming from the incident commander or the fire companies on the ground. If they need us, they contact Helco in the small ship, and Helco will coordinate our assault or whatever our operation is going to be. The reason for that is that most of our radios are line of sight. So if we get deep in a canyon where I can't visually see the ground companies or the incident commander, if we find a hiker way back there, they're not going to hear what we're telling them. So what our radios are able to do, we can shoot that line of sight up to Helco. Helco then has line of sight down to the ground companies. They relay all of our messages.
Great. Okay. All right. Well, we want to thank. Okay, it's getting kind of noisy here. That's LAPD interrupting our Instagram Live with their helicopters. So we're gonna let them go. Okay. So you've gotten the inside tour. You got to see Crash, the system set up to help protect not just the air ops, but the entirety of Van Nuys Airport and all who travel here. You got to see the gear room, the flight control area. You got to see Fire 1 on the ground and Fire 6. So the only thing left to do is take you up. So stick around. We will be back shortly, and you're going to go up in Fire 4. Thanks for joining us. Stay safe.